Test, test, test. Test. Oh, goody. It's good. I am early, so don't anybody freak out. I just wanted to make sure I had all of my video and microphones working and all that happy baloney. If I look a little bit different, that's because I broke my lovely office chair this morning. So now I'm in my midget chair, which I don't like. It's very annoying. I feel like a midget. Normally I'm up a good another 4 inches. So I had to get on Amazon and order another chair to be delivered tomorrow. It completely broke one of the spokes that the wheels go into, and there's no fixing it. It was plastic and it literally shredded or broke off in about 3 different pieces. So, ugh, what a week. It's been a crazy, crazy week. Good morning, Mary. How are you today? I have had such a nutty week. It's just, I don't know where my brain is at. I think I've got too much going on. Yeah, I know. It was very frustrating. I liked my chair, so now I'm going to try a different one. My gamer chair. It had teal on it and everything. And yeah, now I'm in my midget chair. It's not fun. I feel like a little kid at the adult table because literally the table is it is even with my boobs instead of me looking down. May I take a nap? I have to meet with a customer after this class, so there ain't no napping for me today. I just loved my hour and a half, 2 hour trip back and forth to the doctor's yesterday for an appointment that was on the wrong day. It's not until next Friday. I don't know where my brain, that's the first for me. I've never done that, but there's just too much going on in the next month. Chris has 3 appointments in the next 3 weeks and maybe more on top of that. And I'm tired, but I keep on going. There's not much else to do. I'm early, so we're going to give it a few more minutes before we start. Mary, your quilt is looking beautiful. Your luau quilt. I am so glad you asked me to make a custom quilt kit for you because I love those colors and those fabrics. I thought it was just gorgeous. Times, ew, that would be bad enough. But yesterday's appointment, or I should say next week's appointment, which we tried to go to yesterday, is a double scan appointment, which means Chris could not eat after midnight last night, which isn't a big deal. But it also meant he couldn't have coffee in the morning. He could only drink water. So it wasn't fun for him at all. I know, I love that quilt. I just love the fabrics. That would be, I would have pulled those fabrics and those colors for me because those are my favorites. I love blue. Any shade of blue works for me. But yeah, so Chris had to wait until he got home yesterday before he could even have a coffee or breakfast. At least I get up early, like 6:30 in the morning. So I ate a very leisurely breakfast, had a cup of tea, took care of the dog, did all this stuff. Chris woke up like 20 minutes, 30 minutes before the appointment. So, hey, what are you going to do? I got too much going on. Are you ready for this quilt, Miss Mary? It's a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it is so much easier than your first impression when you look at this quilt. It really is easy. It's not going to be difficult at all. Might be a little time consuming and you got to be a little organized, but it's easy. I love those colors. I just thought they were beautiful. I'm gonna have to pull. I don't even know if I have all of those fabric. I don't think I have all of those fabrics. I think you got some of those last fabrics from the boat because I love those. So I might have to pull something together for myself. When I get to it, I have no idea, but I really liked those colors. Maybe we can start a little early. I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to be here. Who else is here? I think we have some new people. I think we got some new people. Anybody else want to say hi? I came on early just to make sure all of my cameras and microphones work because I did that one time not too long ago. One of the last mini mysteries, my microphone stopped, didn't work, and I did a whole video, and nobody could hear me. Loads of fun. I'm used to having my nice chair with my armrests, and it's relaxing. And hey, Gwen, how are you, Miss Gwen? Yeah, I'm hoping Miss Lisa comes on because I know she was excited. At least I hope she sees this live and can answer questions. That's one of the great things about having the live. I can answer questions for you. I'm not going to guarantee that every class for this will be live because sometimes it's just easier for me to do the videos as I'm sewing, but I will try to. And if you have questions, just post them. I will answer them. I have no problem doing that. Hey, Beth. How are you, Miss Beth? I'm glad, Gwen. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. Mm. What do you want me to do while we wait? Anybody have any questions? I've got two more quilts classes getting scheduled. We've got, let's see, woven for the six-pack party. That is April 25th and 2 weeks from today. I've already scheduled the next six-pack party after that, which is Backroads, which would be May 23rd. So it's every fourth Saturday. And then May 6th, we have the next mini mystery, Mystery 50. So there is a lot going on. And I'm doing a lot, but that's okay. I like being busy. Busier is better than me twiddling my thumbs. As much as I complain about being tired, because I'm always tired, I'd rather be busy. All right, we're going to start now and take it from there. If anybody joins afterwards, please say hi, let me know you're here, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have. So, we're doing the Crimson Christmas Quilt by Krista Moser. And this is what I've done so far. And we are going to get through page 1 through 6 today. It looks like a lot, but it goes very fast. And that's Miss Nola just deciding to put her 2 cents in. Nola, quiet. Go lay down. She hears things. Every little thing she hears, she has to bark. Okay. I am using the, oh, wrong one. I am using the Studio 180 Deb Tucker Star 60 ruler. I am not using the ruler that Krista Moser recommends, which is a 60-degree creative grids ruler, because I sell these rulers, and anybody who has them or any 60-degree triangle ruler will be able to use. This is not, we have to buy a specific ruler, but this is the one that I'm using. Okay. First, if you want to follow along with me, please do. I spent, let's see, I spent 1 day cutting, 2 days cutting all of my strips. I highly recommend when you cut your strips to package them in bags. So what I mean is, hold on. I have 4 bags, one for all of my reds, one for my mauves, one for the whites, and one for the black. Okay. It'll make it easier when you cut your strips to package them that way, so that you can just take one bag and do the next cutting that you need to, the sub cutting. I hope that makes sense. Okay. I've already cut all my strips. They're already packaged. Now we're going to start with the first set of triangles, which is super easy. Okay. Um, and I'm going to have to stand up. Oof. Okay. If you're using the star 60 ruler or any 60-degree triangle ruler, there's usually mm, a small line at the very, very top, which will line up with the top of your strip. They have horizontal lines going across to the different measurements: 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and so on. You're going to put the horizontal bottom line on the size of your strip, that line up there on the top of your strip. And then I line up the triangle so that I can cut off the selvage. If by any chance you have a question on any of these steps, let me know. So I'm not moving my hand because I'm also cutting this side. Okay. Now all you do is turn the ruler around, line everything up, and then cut your other side. Now, do not drive yourself crazy and trying to figure it out. 24 of all the reds. What does that mean? You have 4 colors. That just means 6 triangles per color. Okay. 4 of the whites, you want 28. What does that mean? It means 9 of each of the colors. Okay. Now, once you got that, you should, let's see. Okay. You shouldn't have too much trouble cutting the triangles. To make it easier when you're piecing, in Moser's pattern, she has all of the dog ears trimmed. So I wanted to show you how I do that with this ruler. I've got, oops, excuse me, I dropped it. Okay. So I got the point facing down, and these 2 sets of corners aren't trimmed. So what I do is I have it facing down, And I've got the ruler point facing up. And all I do is I can eyeball, and I'm sure you can. See, let's see if I can have a piece of paper. Here we go. See all the horizontal lines? And then you see the dotted lines for the diamonds. All I'm doing is putting the dotted line for the diamonds, following the triangle, and there's a quarter of an inch left over. There you go. So now you have all of your corners cut without any problem. Anybody have any questions on this part so far? Yes, no, maybe. Why do we cut the door gears off? Because it makes it easier for you to sew these together in placement. All right. I'm assuming Miss Mary doesn't have any questions, and if nobody else does, we'll keep on going. Here is the first triangle that we are going to stitch. I know these may not look different, but they are. So I have my two lightest reds, a medium red, and a dark red. You can pick whichever one when you're cutting your strips. That's when you decide which colors that you're going to use. You can, in the directions, it says that you can make this scrappy and not the same for every one. Mine are the same. Okay. I'm not sure I would like it all mixed up and jumbled. So for now, I'm just doing it all the same. So all of my triangles units look just like this for the red. They're all in the same place. Yes, Miss Susan, I'm sorry. I got a little ahead of myself and started a few minutes early. I'm sorry. I was so afraid. I haven't done a live in a little while, and I was so afraid that my camera or the mic wasn't working, so I started early. Do you know how to cut the triangles? Or do you want me to show you how to cut the triangles again? So that that's the only thing we've done. You can always go back and watch the video again. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I was excited for this one. I think you're going to be excited too. All right, let me show you real quick, Miss Susan. So you're going to start all your strips. Cutting all your strips. It took me about 2 days to cut all my strips. And I packaged them, all the reds in one bag, all the mauves, mauves, blah, 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 I can't talk now. All the mauves would be in another bag. The whites are in a separate bag, and the black is in its own bag. So red, pinks, whites, and blacks. I'm using the Star 60-degree ruler, which is by Deb Tucker. So I line up my bottom line according to how wide the strip is. Cut one side, cut the other side. Very hard to do this sitting down. I should have just gotten up. Don't go crazy cutting all the strip, the entire strip, please. Ask me how I know. my first strips, I cut all of it because I thought I needed 28. No, no, no. Or yeah, 24. I thought I needed 24 sets of the, yeah, no. You only need 6. So learn from my mistakes. Now I want to cut the dog ears off so that it's easier in the piecing process. So all I do is I put the triangle point down and the ruler triangle point up, line up, and it's actually up here. For those of you who have the star 60 ruler, I'm using the 4.5-inch dotted line for the diamond and the 2-inch straight mark up here, and that's where I'm lining everything up. And then you have 1/4 of an inch here and 1/4 of an inch there. And there you go with all your dog ears. Okay. That's the only thing that you missed, Miss Susan. Again, you can do these. They said you can do them scrappy and mix them all up. I did not do that. So I made all of my triangles the same, which is my light red, my medium red, and my dark red. And sewing these are super easy. What I did is I started here first with the center and made a little diamond. Keep saying I gotta move my other machine over here because this one wants to eat fabric, but I like my machine. Now, whoops, wrong one. If you sew it correctly and you cut everything correctly, your ending stitches should end right in this little dog ear corner, and you should be able to start in the same place. I don't like ironing my seams open, but this is one of the instances where you want to iron all your seams open. You're going to have a lot of points meeting in the middle, and by ironing your seams open, it will cut down on that bow and make it just a little bit easier for you to piece everything. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't normally iron my seams open, but this is the one. Anytime I do something like a one block wonder or something that has a lot of the points meeting in the center, then I iron my seams open. I did starch. I starched a lot, meaning I starched my strips before I started cutting. And then as I piece, I also starched again. I think it's easier when you're doing all of these points to have the fabric starched. It just, for me, it makes it easier for sewing and it makes it easier for cutting and piecing. Take it for what it's worth. That's just my opinion. But let's see. Okay. So here is our lovely first diamond. Then you can take either side. And since we cut all the dog ears off, the tips match perfectly. It's really not, this quilt looks intimidating when you first look at the pattern. I'll be the first to admit it. But once you start taking it step by step, it's really not hard. Oh, come on. We're not going to play this game today. And we're going to iron this one open also. I'm sorry again, Miss Susan, I did that to you and started early. I was excited. I didn't want, and I also did not want this one to be messed up as far as the videos. Yeah, I normally do sew with leaders and enders on this machine. Um, Especially when I was doing all of this piecing myself, but I forgot to put another one on there. My bad. Okay, here's this one. And hold on. That was really easy. Leaders and enders is one of the reasons I started following Bonnie Hunter in the beginning. Okay, so now we're just going to sew this other side on. Oops, wrong one. Hey, Miss Lisa, I'm so glad you made it. Yeah, I know. I usually do sew with leaders and enders. Unfortunately, I didn't have an extra piece because my other one was really yucky, too many threads, and I just hadn't put another one under. Especially with brothers and baby lock machines. Because I've used a lot of different machines, but for some reason, brothers and baby locks always want to eat the fabric into the throat plate. Oh, yes, Miss Lisa, chain piecing this makes it a whole lot easier. The only thing I recommend when you're chain piecing is make sure you lay out your pieces and only grab two at a time and double check yourself to make sure they're in the right place because it's easy to mess up on this one. All right, now, so we've gotten the bottom half, and you're going to do this with all the colors, okay? It's going to tell you, now be careful. Read your directions because not all of them have the same amount done as a total. Over here, we've only got four on the white. So just make sure you double check and don't go overboard with cutting and sewing a little bit crazy. Make sense? All right. Now, I only have four pieces here, just so for demonstration purposes. These are my two lightest reds. Okay. No, Law, be quiet. I'm sorry. I think Miss Nola is going to give me issues today because she hears somebody mowing. She's going to freak out. Nola, go lay down. So, this is what I'm going to do for you. So, hopefully, you can see it. Nola, go lay down. We're not going outside now. Now, ah, Miss Lisa, I will definitely tell Miss Nola that. Miss Lisa said hi. Come here, Nola. I don't know if she's gonna sit. Miss Nola, for those of you who don't know, is a tripod rescue, and she has high anxiety. Nola, come here. Nola, come. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see her. Oh, yes, you can. You can just barely see her. This is my Nola. She's 80 something pounds, and she is extremely high anxiety. And she's afraid of my husband's wheelchair, which does not make for good stuff. All right, go lay down now. Go. And if she hears something outside, she goes crazy. When it's funny, okay? She's afraid of loud noises, doesn't like the rain. But if it thunders and lightnings, she has to be out there trying to figure out who's going to try, what boogeyman is trying to eat me. She's very cutie. She's my cutie. She's my foster fail officially. I fostered her for 2 weeks before she had her amputation surgery, and then she ended up keeping her. And my other rescue, my daughter ended up taking with her when she moved out, her and her husband. Yes, I'm a doggy person. Okay. One of the questions, because I asked myself this question, when you're doing these rectangles, do you have to sew them in the rows in combination that they said, or can you just sew two pieces? I highly recommend sewing the complete row as they say, because it's too easy to get confused and cut this way or that way. Meaning, if you only do two, you run the risk of these two colors being in the wrong direction or being all mixed up. Does that make sense? So just sew them. It takes nothing, not a lot of time to sew them together and make it easy on yourself. So this should be 7 long, 7 rectangles sewn together in the alternating colors. But for demonstration purposes, I only sewed 4. Now, I'm using again the Star 60 Studio 180 ruler. See the dark lines that I drew? That's the seam where I sewed it. Hopefully you can see that. See that? And these I also ironed open. So again, you got the straight mark on the top. I'm putting the center straight vertical line on the seam. You should have your 4.5-inch line on the bottom because this is 4.5 inch. So whatever, and this goes throughout the entire pattern. Whatever the height is, that's where the line's going to go horizontally. And then, simple, cut and cut. Then I turn it over. Line it up. Cut, cut. Now you could turn the ruler this way, that way, this way, that way. I just found it was easier to turn the fabric. I'll line it up. Now, as you can see, they all have the same color on the right and the same color on the left, or vice versa. Anybody have any questions on that? She's at my feet, Miss Nola. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sew. if she'll move, because I don't know if she's gonna move. She's very, very scared, and she wants to be next to Mama when she's scared. She's always scared. Anybody have any questions on that part so far? Good. Okay. Now we have to sew these together. So you end up with this. Isn't that pretty? I'll show you what I do so that I make sure I get this seam lined up in this point because I don't want to do it any other way. I take the back end of this. Has anybody done like Lone Star or a lot of diagonals? Diamonds, I mean. When you do Lone Stars, you mark 1/4 of an inch over your seam. Can you see that? The reason we do that is so that we know how to match everything up when you're working with diamonds. So I start with this one, and I'm in the back. It's hard to show you on this one. Let me see. I didn't do a good job ironing this one. There should be, let's see. Maybe I can see it on the white. See this little triangle? Now this is the back. There's a little triangle where all 3 fabrics colors meet. That's the point, right at the tip of the triangle. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but yeah, I guess you can. Might be able to show you on the mauve one a little bit better. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. I think I ironed all of those. All right. Let's see. Hopefully I can do this for you with no problems. Anyway. You want to go right into the tip of that triangle. Maybe I should just iron it better instead of trying to go the fast route. Like a ding-a-ling. There we go. Then you're going to take or you could do it this way too. It's probably easier. So if we go into the back of the split, put the pin right into the 1/4 inch mark that right in the seam and at the 1/4 inch mark that we drew, and then go from here. That's easier. And go right into your triangle. Now, see how the pin is off to the side? What you want to do is you want the pin straight up and down. If you put it off to the side, it's not lined up correctly. So, oh, and by the way, I didn't show you that too. I should have done that too. I did the same thing with these 2 of yours as I did with the other. I have my 8.5 diamond, 4-inch mark on the horizon. And just cut my dog ears off. So that way it was easier. It's much easier for piecing that way. Don't mind me. Miss Nola has decided to throw me for a loop. No, no. Shh, shh, shh. Let's try that again. Gonna go in the back, seam, and then in the front, triangle or tip. Don't freak out or try and get everything exact as far as making sure everything here lines up. Pay attention to this pin. You see how I hold it up and down underneath? Before you do anything else, then I'm going to take another pin before you can take this pin out. Now, when I go to the machine, I'll make sure my start and end is where it needs to be. Move, Noah. Come on, move. Noah, go. Noah, come. Go. Come. Noah, come. I gotta sew. Ay, ay, ay. All right. I'm not sewing. Miss Nola is literally right at my feet underneath my machine, and I can't even move my chair without rolling over her. I'm sorry. She's in a mood this morning. She does not want to do anything. Okay. So let's try this. So you would just sew this 1/4 of an inch all the way down. I stop. For those of you who don't know me, I literally would sew starting right in this little corner right here, because that'll be 1/4 of an inch. I stop. I normally put my pins on an angle deliberately so that I can sew. Stop with my needle right in the seam before you take this pin out. Sometimes if you just keep sewing and take the pin out before, or you're not watching what you're doing, just the idea of taking the pin out is enough to throw off your seam allowance and they won't line up. So again, start here, so. I stop with my needle down right in the center seam where I marked. Then I take my pin out, readjust my other part down here, and then continue to sew. All right. Sorry, Miss Nola is being a poo-poo head. Or else I would show you on the machine. Everybody get that? No, it's not. It's getting too, whoops, too blurry. If you line up your seams, see how nice? If you do it the way I showed you, it's actually pretty easy and you'll get the hook hang of it pretty quickly. But your seams from this little seam to the tip of your triangle will come out perfect. And yes, nothing's perfect in quilting, but I strive to get better every time I sew. So, nobody has any questions on that part. We got one more part to show you, because yeah, Miss Nola ain't moving. As soon as I get done with this class, I'm gonna have to take her outside so she can confirm that there's no monsters in the backyard or around the house. And all it is my neighbor mowing his lawn. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Next part. And again, if you're using a different 60-degree ruler, triangle ruler, unfortunately, most of what I'm showing you should be the same. If it's a plain 60-degree ruler. If you're using the ruler that Miss Moser points out and you're not sure which I think it's just a 60-degree diamond. That's all it is. So it should work pretty much the same way. But I know she has on YouTube videos on how she uses her ruler to cut diamonds. So by all means, with that specific ruler, go there if you have any questions. But they all should be pretty much the same. All right, the next thing we got to do is cut a ton of diamonds. So on the top of page 7, and I don't want to show too much because it's not fair to people who didn't buy the pattern. It's going to show you how many of each color diamond to cut. Oh, it's crazy, Miss Lisa. I have an extremely anxious dog, and she wasn't always that way. But between my husband's surgeries, having a wheelchair around, me going from being gone all the time to now working from home, my daughter moving out, like everything happened in less than a year, and she freaked out. And when he was still learning to use his wheelchair, he caught her between the wheelchair and the kitchen cabinet corner. Ever since then, she did not like the wheelchair at all. So basically, she's become completely my dog. And she freaks out about everything. And I do mean everything. If I'm in the backyard and some big truck drives through the street in the front of the house, she'll freak out and come running back in. She's afraid of everything. I've never had such a scared dog, but she literally is afraid of everything. But I love her anyway. She's my baby. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is diamonds. Lots and lots and lots of diamonds. This is how I do diamonds with the Star 60 ruler. First things first. To think about what I'm doing now. Okay. I have my salvage here. So I have turned my ruler lining it up with the top and moving it over so I can cut the salvage off and start with the right angle that I need to do my diamonds. Okay. Now, the nice thing about the Star 60 diamond, Star 60 ruler is it already has the dotted lines for your diamonds. Okay. And whether the dotted lines are half, the solid lines are whole numbers. So it's really, really easy. I have a 4.5-inch strip, and I'm using the 8.5-inch diamond mark. So the dotted line follows here in the bottom of my fabric. The top of the ruler is on my fabric, the top edge of my fabric. And this one is, I only need 4 of this one. And I do cut both double strips because it's just easy for me. But if you don't feel comfortable cutting double strips, just fold it out and cut one diamond at a time. This is not a race. It's not a difficult quilt, but it is one of the quilts that if you do the prep work in advance and do it correctly, meaning not correctly. If you do a lot of the prep work yourself up front, it'll make it much easier for you to sew this together. Okay. The only corner door gears that we're going to worry about are the 2 tips. These we don't touch. So for me, if I have to remember what I was doing, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, this one. No, Give me a second. My brain is not, there it is. Okay. Again, I'm putting the two tips up and down horizontally. And just like we used 8.5 as our mark, I have the 4-inch mark on this side, the 8.5 mark on this side. So I only have a little 1/4 of an inch tip. Boom. Turn it around. Once you get used to it, it's not difficult at all. So again, 8.5 mark on this side, 4-inch mark on this side. Boom. Do it again for you. It's not difficult at all. It really isn't. It looks like a lot, but honestly, if you take it one step at a time, this quilt is pretty easy. 8.5 on this one, 4-inch mark on that one. And that's all you're cutting off. That little bit is enough to make your life a lot easier for lining everything up. 8.5 on this one. Now, these lines that we're going to use is probably going to change with different size fabrics that we're cutting or different size diamonds or whatever else. So if you're wondering, well, maybe it's something smaller or larger, or let me show you. Let's do this. So this one is a smaller strip, so the diamond's going to be smaller, right? It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Let me think. What are we using? So on this one, I'd use the 5-inch mark and 2.25. Let's do it again. All I'm doing is figuring out what angles, which sides of the triangle will line up so that I can cut just a little 1/4 of an inch dog ear off. That's it for today's class. You should have plenty to do for next week. That's all we're working on this week. Now she moves. Okay. Now she's in on her bed. Go figure. How did this work? She waits until it's all done before she decides she's going to move. Anybody have any questions on what I've showed you so far? And how much you're going to get done? It's not hard, and it shouldn't take too long at all. I think I did, once I cut all the fabric, all the strips. Now, I cut all the strips for me in less than a day. But I had to go through and cut all the fabric for kits for everybody first. So that was like a 2 or 3 day process. Once you cut all the strips, make sure you separate in bags the reds, the mauves, the whites, and the blacks. That way you're not going through a ton of strips colors at the same time. Just do yourself a favor and separate them all. I'm glad you like it, Miss Lisa. I try. I talk very plain English, and I try to make it as easy as possible for everybody. I can't wait until my new chair comes in tomorrow because I'm sick of feeling like a midget today. I broke it. For those of you who weren't here when I was started a little early, I broke my normal chair today. So I have my midget chair. And basically, the table is up to my boobies. So I feel like a midget. This is the chair that Aurora usually sits in when she comes to visit my granddaughter. Well, guess what? You're right, Miss Lisa. That was the hardest part. It took me 3.5, almost a full month of playing with fabric. I even made it when I thought I was all done ordering. I ordered another order of fabric because I didn't like what it looked like with the original fabric I ordered. So, yes, it took me almost a month of playing with orders and moving fabric around, laying it out and going, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope. I hope I was correct in what I picked, but I like it so far. And I've only just done the first 6 pages, but and I don't know, please don't tell me this is going to be wrong or right. I have no idea if this is how it's going to lay out. I just did this as I finished my colors just to get them up and on the design wall so they're not on the table. I have no idea, honestly, because I haven't read ahead at all. I will do the next class as I'm doing it now. And hopefully I will have another live class. If not, at the very least, it'll be a video, but I'm going to try and keep doing live with this one just so that I can answer your questions or help you out. If you have any questions, just comment here as you're doing it and I will get back to you. Ugh. I have a lot of fabric. Miss Lisa, I have a lot more red fabric than I would ever have ordered in my entire life. Now I have to figure out quilts to go along with all the brick reds and yeah. Not that I mind ordering fabric. I just have a ton of red now. I mean, a lot of red. I think I have every shade of red, brick red, bright red, fire engine red that you could ever want in Northcott canvas and Toscana. Trust me. If you're looking for a red, I'm your girl. That and creams and tans, because I love creams and tans and grays. To me, that's a great. It's like a basic, but I have probably 10 shades of cream/tan now. Yeah. So if you need a nice background fabric, I'm your girl too. Hey, what else am I gonna do? Play with Nola. Take my husband to doctor's appointments on the wrong day. That's me. I'd much rather order extra fabric that I don't need than do an hour and a half trip to the doctor's that wasn't supposed to be going to. Ay, ay, ay. If you don't, I'm very real, but if you don't like real people, I may not be the teacher for you because I like to have fun and I like to laugh. And I will be the first one to make you laugh about me being a mess up because I mess up and I'm okay with it. All right, you guys, if you have any questions at all, I have to meet with another customer to pick up her machine, her long arm, and see if I can figure out what's wrong with it. I don't like doing that part, but she's a nice old lady and she needs some help. So I'm going to do it. Eventually, I will get my stuff long armed. All right, I gotta let Miss Nola out and finish this video and then go meet a customer. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And you know where I am if you need me. If you have any questions, let me know. Um, it is a lot of work, but it's gonna be fun. I would finish your yellow brick road. You should have more than enough time to get that done. and then work on this and maybe use this one to play with your, or actually use a panel quilt, an easy, quick panel quilt to learn how to do the robotics on your machine. That's what I recommend. Panels make the greatest and easiest ways for testing a long arm. And when you're done, donate it to one of the kids' groups. Panel quilts, I love working with panel quilts on the long arm. When I'm trying to test new things, try it with your robotics. That's the way to go. And yes, Mary, it is a lot of work, but I think it's going to be good. The next class is next Saturday, 11 o'clock or earlier. Sorry, Miss Susan. I was excited. So yes, the next class is next Saturday. We're going to try and do it every Saturday unless something happens in between with my hubby or something like that. Yes, Lisa, I would definitely finish a yellow brick road. And then when you want to play with the robotics, just do a quick panel quilt. All right, everybody. Miss Noda, you going to say bye? Miss Noda. I would pick her up, but she's 80 pounds. I can't pick her up. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. And I'm off to go meet a customer and God only knows what. Let Miss Nola out. Make sure she can check the yard for the monsters. See ya. Mm.